Powerpuff Girls, one of the many original cartoons that hold a special place in people's hearts. And now there's a reboot! No, that's not it. Ah, no, it's not it either! No, ugh! No, get it off!
Stupid pig!
Better. Now, much like Teen Titans Go, Powerpuff Girls 2016 has been a subject of controversy. You either love it, or you hate it, and then throw stones at anyone who disagrees with you. Well, if you're a frick anyways. Now, when I first watched this show, it's okay. Then the initial charm wore off, and yeah, it wore off pretty fast. But for me to give this a proper review, I had to watch more episodes, because that's what the reviewer's Bible says. Otherwise, this is a complete train wreck, so there you go. So I did it, just to get a better idea, and to form a more solid opinion on it. As of right now, as I'm recording this, June 2016, it holds a 4 out of 10 rating on IMDb, and has been panned by so many as the worst reboot of all time. Yes, even worse than Teen Titans Go. Now, like always, we'll start with the characters. Now, for anyone familiar with Powerpuff Girls, there's a good chance you know what you need to know about the characters. But for the uninitiated, there's Blossom, the team leader and the most dedicated to stuff like responsibility and listening to her superiors and being smart. Bubbles, whose name pretty much speaks for itself with her bubbly and cutesy nature, is probably, I guess, the girliest of the three? I guess? I mean, her name's Bubbles, for crying out loud. And last but not least is Buttercup, who is the tough tomboy that just loves getting rough and dirty. Hell, in the old show there was even an episode dedicated to this idea.
Let's go! Is it me, or does Buttercup stink?
Buttercup, you stink. Take a bath.
So yeah, not much has changed for the Powerpuff Girls themselves so far, but more on that later. I suppose I'll also talk about the new voice actors right now, since that alone deserves something, and has been controversial. No, I don't think they're bad. In fact, I'm glad that they got new voice actors. Here's the problem though. Blossom and Bubbles sound way too similar. Like, way too similar.
I can't remember anything! And I remember every grocery list I ever made. I never thought I would see this, but I can't handle any more hugs. Okay, Professor. Sounds great. 1 hour? What are we gonna do? I knew we should have stopped eating all of that candy. We should have gone to bed early. We should have listened to the professor. Oh my goodness, he's so cute. You are not gonna hurt him, Buttercup.
Buttercup has enough of a difference where it's like, oh, that sounds like Buttercup, but Blossom and Bubbles, their likenesses are just way too close to each other. Maybe if they had Blossom sound a little deeper, it'd be fine, but no. I mean, I'm not going to say that they're not trying, the new voice actors, at all. It's just that I wish that Blossom was maybe a little deeper, or maybe and Bubbles more high-pitched. I don't know, something to make sure that they don't sound the same. All the side characters haven't really changed much from their original versions. Professor Utonium still creates the girls with sugar, spice, everything nice, and an accidental drop of Chemical X. Princess is still a wannabe Powerpuff Girl and the rich bitch. Mojo Jojo's still an evil monkey that loves to talk, even to the audience in some cases. And all these characters have the same voices as they did back then. Hell, even the narrator, if you want to count the narrator as a character. More about that later on. But what about the new characters? Surely that's got something to say. Well, there's the Derby Tants, which definitely seem like some from the 90s with the punk skater look. and pizza eating. Or maybe it's just the kind of people you find outside Hot Topic. I mean, who's gonna judge here? There's also Man Boy, and for anyone that remembers Femme Fatale from the old show, and how she was pro-women and wanted nothing to do with men, well, Man Boy's the opposite of that. Also, remember how Femme Fatale was about her brains and even tried to make the Powerpuff Girls hate men too? Well, hear me out, hear me out. Man Boy's a total misogynist! And hates women and wants everything to be manly. And also, up for bronze, because, you know, that's manly, right? Oh yeah, oh, look at these guns. Oh yeah, so manly. Oh. Also, he might be a mermaid. Now, I don't hate Man Boy, it's just... I suppose he could be neat. Can't say that about the Derby Tants. Ugh. Bring back the Gangrene Gang. Oh wait, they're in prison. Oh, and also in this show, kind of like in the old show too, the professor gets a girlfriend, but instead of Ms. Keen, it's a scientist named Sapna. But they break up because every time Sapna feels love, she turns into a spider because of some sort of mutation thing. Maybe Professor Utonium should just date Miss Keen again, I don't know. There are other new characters like Bianca, Allegro, Hope, and Packrat. They're really simple and really, you know what, I'll just sum them up for all you guys. We've got the most fashionable criminal of all time, Panda from We Bare Bears on LSD, whose theme song would probably be Happy by Pharrell Williams. And also he causes chaos through happiness. An angel with ADD, and Gollum. So yeah, the new characters, for the most part, they seem alright for now. The new characters, honestly kind of uneventful, to be honest. But what about the character designs themselves? Now, the designs of the girls were always round and cutesy. So, naturally, the new versions of them make them even more round and cutesy, which seems to have worked. I mean, they're very round, and I suppose cute looking. I mean, seriously, there are no sharp edges anywhere. Unfortunately, the round and cutesy designs got spread everywhere else, and there's a problem with that. You see, and I'm gonna bring up the original show here. The original show was kind of a parody of superheroes, and part of that was because they took, you know, normally you got a city, and you've got a big, strong man as a superhero, or a woman, although Fred McCracken had more manly ones in mind, like Superman. And instead of having him in this crime-ridden, disgusting, okay, not really disgusting, but cruel city, instead of having the man, have 3 little girls. And when you make the world that they're in all round and cutesy, you take away that effect. But even ignoring that, it doesn't work. Because when you have everything else in the show be round and cutesy, the villains don't look threatening. They're about as cute and squishy looking as everything else. It doesn't look like a threat. Shows like Gravity Falls, Star vs. the Force of Evil, Adventure Time, and Steven Universe get this. So what's Powerpuff Girls' excuse? I mean, granted, there are characters that do deserve the round cutesy treatment, such as Princess and Allegro, because, well, Princess is a little girl, let's be real here. And Allegro, he's meant to spread chaos through happiness, and well, you can't really spread chaos through happiness if you don't look happy or cheery, and let's be real here, looking all sharp, pointy, and angry doesn't exactly make you think happy, you know, does it? But then there's also times where the designs are straight up lazy. The worst offender here is the Derby Tants. Hey guys, here's an idea. We'll have this gang of roller skaters, okay? But since we're too lazy to think of so many other designs, let's take one animation model, copy and paste it, and maybe have the most minimal changes ever. Seriously, this looks like the world's laziest fan-made recolor. Now granted, this is nothing new in cartoons, but that's not the problem. You see, let's take a show like My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Most of the characters in that show use the same animation model. Well, if you strip away the main, of course. However, they try to make everyone look as different as possible. You could make a regular Earth pony, make it a unicorn, make it a Pegasus, or just go with Alicorn. And the mains, everything looks so different. Granted, there are other ones that are basically repaints of each other, but that's rare. So again, what is Powerpuff Girls' excuse? I suppose the only one that's really not round and cutesy is Pack Rat, but really, you only did it to one villain? One villain. And even the villains from the old show, they're all round and cutesy, they don't look threatening. Does Fuzzy Lumpkins right here look threatening in the slightest? No. No, he doesn't. And I suppose I should also get this out of the way too. And it goes for the animation. Frankly, I think people give too much crap for it. But I'm sure someone's typing in the comment, oh, there's this page on Tumblr that points out all the flaws in there, all the animation errors. Yeah, you're right. There is a Tumblr page dedicated to animation errors for Powerpuff Girls 2016. You want to know what else there is? There is also a Tumblr page made by the same guy for Gravity Falls animation errors. And I love that show. That's one of my favorite shows of all time. So we're gonna bring down this for its animation errors, but not this? Come on. And frankly, to be honest, it doesn't really affect the viewing experience that much. Frankly, these are more, you gotta pause at the exact moment when it happens. For the most part, anyways. You know, kind of like animation smears, which still happen today. Yeah, they totally do. So, designs, not so hot. But what about the story? I mean, that counts the most more than anything, right? Now let me get this out of the way. It seems to me that this reboot isn't a reboot in the sense of starting all the way at the beginning, but more along the lines of something like The Force Awakens, where it picks up right after the original ended with established characters as well as new characters for new fans. I mean, the Powerpuff Girls already knew that Princess was a brat that's always wanting to join them, sheerly because of the attention it creates. Everyone already knows about Blossom's ice breath, and the mayor is still kinda dumb and has a thing for pickles, just to name a few. Now for both the old and the new Powerpuff Girls shows, there was never an overarching story arc, but rather the individual episodes had their own stories to them. Unfortunately, this is where Powerpuff Girls 2016 completely falls apart. First off, the jokes. They're about as soft as the girls themselves, and frankly, I didn't find myself laughing. I tried, but nothing. It didn't even feel like I was having fun watching the show, which, well, takes away the viewing experience. I like having fun with whatever I'm watching, and when that's taken out, there's a problem. Yeah, I've seen the jokes from this show done better elsewhere. Now, I'm not saying that the humor in the old show was perfection, or even the reason the jokes in the new show taste like tofu, but it seems like the crew from back then had a better idea on what made people laugh. The self-referential humor is okay, I guess.
Fiber, prunes, and everything mild. These were the ingredients chosen to make the perfect little girls slightly older. But Professor Utonium did everything correctly, and there were no accidents. The whole thing went smoothly. Pretty anticlimactic, if you ask me.
But that's not what most of the show consists of. And unlike Teen Titans Go, which is a parody of sorts, a bad parody of that, but still a parody, Powerpuff Girls 2016 is serious. It's not trying to be a parody, because they said they wanted to expand on the characters and everything else, and yeah. So what are the jokes exactly? Well, there's memes.
If you need someone to sing so bad, you do it! No me gusta!
Because those are always funny, right? You know, at least other shows with meme jokes like We Bare Bears make sure they don't make you cringe and also not use old-ass memes. And there are other ones which, frankly, are just hard to describe because it's like they just happen and then you forget about them. Really, the memes were the only thing that stuck out, and, well, as we've already discussed, those aren't good. But what about the stories in the episodes themselves? I mean, they seem to be semi-decent and non-eventful, but then they get brought down by morals shoved into the audience faces. I think Cartoon Network saw how Warner Brothers was getting banned for Teen Titans Go and how the morals in that show were shit, so they sought to please that crowd with preachy morals that are just obnoxious. I'm not bashing them for putting morals in, but for the love of God, could it not be in every fucking episode? And if you do put one in, at least be, oh, I don't know, subtle about it? I mean, why do you have to be preachy? Do you think kids are retarded? And now this is where the characters of the Powerpuff Girls completely derail. Can I just ask why it seems like Bubbles is so easy to piss off? If it's to show her supposed dark side, that is sure one easy triggered dark side. I mean, if someone does have a dark side, it's rarely used. I mean, I've got my own dark side, and you don't always see me do it, because it takes a lot to expose my dark side. And with Bubbles, it seems like it barely takes anything to let out her dark side. Also, Blossom just acts like she's so full of herself that it's annoying, frankly.
We made dioramas in geography class, and I worked really hard, and the teacher gave me an A+. And that's a problem. Why? He gave everyone an A+.
Team leader, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, ignoring that everyone else is under mind control in this episode, why should you be the only one getting an A? Is everyone just a fucking sloth in your mind? And you know, since we're on the Allegro episode already, I still don't understand how the girls weren't affected right away like everyone else. Now, in the episode, everyone gets all happy and cheery and it creates chaos after they see this rainbow come out. You can see Buttercup looking at the rainbow with everyone else in the classroom! Oh wait, it was so the girls could find the source of the problem and have this. Now, granted, they are having it as a bad thing, since Blossom and Bubbles are under mind control, and Buttercup is our straight man in this. On the other hand, it's still little girls twerking, and that just doesn't sit well. There's also an episode with Donnie, the wannabe unicorn, and I intentionally left Donnie out of the character section, since the bigger picture was the episode he's in, which was a subtle way of talking about being transgender. I talk about it here, but fellow friend, reviewer, and commentator Doodle Tones already did a review on that episode.
In the case of Horn Sweetenhorn, the moral is don't rush into decisions, and boy do they try to hammer that home. Using a horse that believed it was a unicorn being a metaphor for transgenderism is one thing, but using a unicorn who thought it was a horse who believed he at heart was a unicorn is something entirely different.
Link in the description, and I share similar thoughts on that episode as she does. She also makes a valid case as to why it's not a good episode. So after all this, what are my final thoughts? If it wasn't obvious enough, this is pretty crappy. Granted, it's better than Teen Titans Go, and it can be fixed. Here's how. Don't shove the morals in the audience faces. Make the villains look like actual threats. Better jokes. Not make the stories come off as crappy fanfiction. Though, this is assuming it'll make it past 40 episodes. I don't know. Maybe they could do a crossover with another show. Certainly worked for Uncle Grandpa. Hell, I might revisit that show some point. So, maybe there's... Oh. A crossover with Teen Titans Go. Well, there goes all faith I had. But anyways, take care, and I will catch you all later. Peace.
And so, for the very first time, the day is saved, thanks to the Powerpuff Girls. Hey, that's a good name for them.
Powerpuff Girls, yeah! I like that. Wonder if they will. I'll run it by them.
This is what I live for, baby, on my open road. You can take me anywhere, the wind blows right into the great unknown. We can throw our hands up out the window. This is what we live for.
Also, I totally watch this over Teen Titans Go any day of the week.